Welcome in, Hawks fans. Your boy Bryce Lewis back at it again for another Believe in Hawks episode. Hawks complete game number 2 of the preseason, losing to the Philadelphia 76ers tonight in a very sloppy preseason-like game. Offensively, the Hawks struggled tonight. They did show some really good things defensively, which I'll get into. But overall, not really anybody had a great night offensively. Risacher did lead all scorers for the Hawks at last check. And yes, he did. So that obviously was good for the Rook. And we'll talk about him. We'll talk about individual players in this episode, how they performed tonight as the Hawks go 1-1 in preseason play, take a day off, and then get ready to play 2 games back-to-back. It's because the Miami Heat game was rescheduled. So they'll play the Heat on Wednesday and then Oklahoma City on Thursday before getting ready for opening night against the Brooklyn Nets. I appreciate you guys tuning in to Believe in Hawks podcast before we get started. If you're watching us on YouTube, go ahead and subscribe to the channel, show some love, grow the channel more as we bring more Hawks fans to this space. Listen to audio, leave a rating, review. All of it is very much appreciated for you guys. And obviously, on YouTube, don't forget to like the video as well. So like I mentioned at the start, very preseason-like game tonight. Bad referee calls, sloppy shooting, teams going brick for brick. It wasn't a pretty game, right? But there were some positive takeaways and there were some negative takeaways from this game the Hawks played in tonight. Obviously, they haven't played since Tuesday? They haven't played since last Tuesday. I could be wrong. I'm thinking it's Tuesday. But they haven't played in a while. Basically, they haven't played in a while. So, first thing I want to get in tonight is we'll just go ahead and get into the Risacher conversation. Risacher tonight, 14 points, 8 rebounds, 1 assist. Struggled from the 3-point line, 1 of 5 from the 3-point line tonight. I think Risacher in this game kind of showed some different things. Obviously, last game he had the shot going a little bit. This game he didn't. But he still led the team in scoring because Risacher, for what I've seen and just through how he plays, if he's not shooting, he's literally always near the basket. And I think that's helped the Hawks provide some offense for them because when the guys drive, Trey drives, Kobe drives, other guys drive to the rim, Zach is sometimes right there at the rim, and sometimes defenses forget about him. And they're able to make that pass, and he's able to get a nice, easy layup, get around the rim, has good touch of the rim, and make plays. He had a scary moment in the game where he almost got chase down blocked. I do not remember at the moment who was the person on the chase down block for Zach, but basically it was a play reminiscent of what Jaylen got hurt on last year when Kyle Kuzma went for a chase down block, and he obviously got injured, missed a good chunk of time. Risacher did get back up. He was fine, shot free throws. He still played. Dyson Daniels was one of the first people to go over there when that happened. Kind of got into the face of one of the Sixers guys. Nothing crazy, but just letting them know, hey, we don't like that. Really, really good to see that. Just guys stepping up for guys, defending their guys. So obviously that was definitely good to see that. But like I said, Risacher tonight, I still think played well. I think defensively he was active tonight. That's what you want to continue to see from a young player like him. Just continue to see his activity on the defensive end. Especially there was a sequence with Dyson and Zach both on the floor. I mean, they're both active defensively. You could see the effort, the energy. Obviously, we know about Zach's length and just how that impacts things. And I think that also led to a few turnovers tonight for the Sixers as well. Zach continues to, just like I said, kind of figure out niche and figure out his role and kind of figure out where he fits in at times. Which helps him a lot because it's allowing him to kind of know, okay, when this happens, I need to be at this spot. When this happens, I need to be at another spot. And that helps him at least still have some type of impact, whether that's tipping a pass out after or tipping the ball out after a rebound. Like I said, cutting to the rim, getting easy baskets, or getting open on the 3-point line. I think one thing you're seeing about with Zach is you're just seeing him put himself in position to make a play or to be able to impact the basketball possession, which I think is something that, you think in today's NBA, a lot of guys sometimes just kind of sit in the corner at the 3-point line or, really don't really impact the possession or doesn't give themselves a chance to impact the possession. I think Risacher has been doing some work in these couple of preseason games where he's allowing himself and giving himself the chance where he could impact a possession by just being near the rim or being at the 3-point line, but moving along the 3-point line. And so that way, especially with the passing that we've seen from this team, as obviously the connectivity is something they really want to improve, or just overall team passing and finding things, I think that's really going to be really effective for him. And just like I said, they always say your shot isn't falling. Maybe your shooter, your shot's not falling. Get a couple layups, maybe get to the foul line, get see the ball go in, and then kind of build off of that and continue to grow off of that. So that's something I've definitely seen from Risacher, just early in these first two games tonight. And I think that in and of itself will help him carve out a niche with his team, regardless if he's a starter or a bench player. So I think that's something that I think Quinn wanted to see. He checked in when he checked into the game tonight. He checked in with Jaylen and Trey. So obviously that's something that Quinn is still wanting to see, want him to get minutes with those guys, continue to play with them tonight. I mean, pretty much tonight, Hawks only played 9 guys in the first half, so they kind of played a normal regular season rotation tonight. Obviously, we would know if Okongwu is healthy, if that would lead to 10 and Larry plays 4. I don't know. But overall, I mean, I think Risacher, still had a good performance in his second game in the NBA preseason, his second game as a professional. And it's going to be exciting to continue to see him grow. He'll obviously be one of the few people I assume in the next couple of games you'll see maybe in both. But we'll see. We'll see what Quinn decides to do when it comes to how he plays his guys in the next coming games, especially in the back-to-back and its preseason, and just making sure he's managing everybody moving forward. So good performance for Risacher, like I said, leading the team in scoring. Now, getting into the rest of the team, first one I want to point out first is I've seen a couple of people tonight kind of react to this game as kind of like this is a microcosm of the Hawks season that's about to come. And I'm just kind of like, why are we making these decisions in the preseason? Like, it's the preseason, guys. Like the Hawks are not even running their stuff. Like, their stuff. Like, they're not doing that. And yet we're saying this is a microcosm of what we're going to see for the season. And I think that's just part of us being such a reactionary society and just being like, the last thing I see is the last thing I think is going to happen. It's hard for us to think, okay, they didn't have a great game tonight, but let's look at all these lists of factors and then we'll see how things keep going. For me, I'm taking the approaches, all right, they didn't have the greatest game tonight. See how the next game goes. But realistically, we truly won't know what this team is till the regular season starts. Because remember, people forgot to forget, Hawks played really well in the preseason last year. You remember that? Remember when we were all excited going into the season because they played really, really well in the preseason? And we saw how the season went. So we can't make too many assumptions off the preseason. So for people who are panicking after this game is like, bro, like, can we get to the regular season first before we make any type of decision on this team? But I also think it just goes in narratives. I've talked about this before, if you've been listening to my podcast. Everybody has a narrative. If you don't think this team's going to be good, this game will feed your narrative. But if you think the Hawks are going to be good, you're going to view it probably like how I view it. Let's wait till we get to the regular season. That's just how things go. But I think we need to kind of calm down with some of the takes that we have. We can acknowledge there were some things that weren't great tonight, for sure. Absolutely. And we're going to talk about that. But no reason to say this is a microcosm of what the season will be. We don't know what the season is going to be. We don't have a clue until we actually get into the season. Like I said, everybody just wants to be right. Everybody wants to be first. But that does not mean that you're going to sit here and judge the players like immediately. Remember, every team in this league is different. Every matchup is different. So what you see tonight may not what you see in the next game. But it's because the matchup is different and the play is different. And so that could result in a different performance that may be closer to what we saw in the Indiana game. But we could also maybe get something closer to what we got tonight. So, again, no reason to overact. No reason to go crazy. Let's just vibe out and see how this team continues to grow as the season moves forward. But now going into the rest of the guys, Trey Young tonight, he was fine. Had a couple of calls against him, had a T against him tonight that was kind of quick. Like I said, referees really weren't great tonight. Their regular season form, so that's fun. Had a crossover. They said he pushed, a guy in the back, couldn't get a three, called it off, offensive foul. Okay, whatever. He had an interesting comment after the game. I saw this before I got on here, asking about just the preseason offense, and he was just like, I don't give a F. I'm trying to get my guys involved. And I know some people are going to take that like, oh, Trey, everybody does this with Trey. Well, he takes 33 one-legged shots. I'm like, okay, like, man's taking one each game. Like I'll make it seem like he's taking 10 of those a game. Like, he took one-legged shot the first game and one-legged shot this game. Let's calm down, people. At the end of the day, I just think you may not like Trey Young, so you're just going to immediately say, well, he doesn't need to say that. I'm like, all he's saying is, I want to get my guys involved. I want to get my guys confidence. I want to get my guys the basketball because, like I said, the preseason isn't for him. It's not for Trey Young. It's for the rest of the guys. That's why he said that, because he's saying, I need to make sure that my teammates get the ball in their hands. They're active within what we're doing and that they feel comfortable and confident in what they're asked to do when they get the ball in their hands. So that's why he's like, however the preseason game looks offensively, who cares? Because it's preseason. All right. When we get to the regular season, Trey knows there's gonna be games. I gotta just say it's me. I gotta take the team home. That's what a star does. That's how things go. But there is absolutely no reason for us to sit here and be like, trying to find a way to diminish Trey after that comment. All he's saying is that people are worried about our offense in the preseason. like guys, we just had a great offensive game last game. We've had one bad offensive game and one good offensive game. Why are we making judgments on the offense after that? I just want to make sure my guys get the ball. I want to make sure my guys are involved in the offense. Simple, nothing to worry about. Like I said, Trey Young is Trey Young. There's not much to say. He's gonna get you 25 probably when he gets ready. He probably get you 20, 30. He'll probably get you close to 10 assists. You know how this is gonna go, guys. Like, let's calm down here. All right. But I do want to talk about Kobe Buffkin, his backup. So Kobe didn't have a great game tonight. He didn't. Let's be honest, he didn't. He went 2 of 13, 0 of 5 from 3, 5 points, 2 rebounds, 5 assists. He had the highest negative for the team with minus 22. So obviously with that, a lot of people are kind of like, all right, do the Hawks have a backup point guard problem? And I said this on Twitter. I started seeing people saying some stuff, and I said this. I said, guys, listen, we're going to have to let Kobe grow. We're going to have to let him grow. I mean, like this season, you have a lot of young players playing for you. You have to let them grow. Like I said, again, it's preseason. They're not running their stuff, blah, blah, blah. But like there is some merit to some of the stuff with Kobe, because I'll say what I've observed. I've said that when Kobe has been pressured, when he's facing an aggressive defender, I notice he tends to struggle with those types of guys more than guys who play off of him, right? Because it speeds him up. It makes him have to make decisions quickly. That's something that you just have to get more reps with and do more of. Remember, Kobe didn't play. This is Kobe's first year really playing on the main NBA roster. If you think about it, he had injuries last year and stuff like, and he played G League, injuries, things like that. So he still has a lot of growth to go through. I know a lot of people are talking about Vic Krejci. Oh, well, Vic Krejci's better than him right now. Make him the backup point guard. Listen, I think for me with Quinn, I think he'd rather keep Krejci as a jack of all trades, 1, 2, 3, or 4 guy, not you are exclusively our backup point. He likes Vic's versatility. And right now, I mean, technically, he's not even in the rotation, right? Because my thing would be this. If you replace Kobe Buffkin, then when is he going to play? When is he going to grow? Y'all don't want him in the G League. Y'all complained about it last year. So he kind of has to play. Because if you don't play, we're like, oh, well, he's a waste of a pick. Well, for him not to be a waste of a pick, he got to play. So For people panicking about Kobe, listen, I know it wasn't a great performance for the night, and he's going to have those nights. Remember, guys, there's 82 games. Every player on his team's going to have bad nights. So there's no reason to overreact to him. You just hope that they don't continue to compound and compound and compound. That's when you start having concern. I think Kobe's going to be fine. I think Kobe will be fine. I think it's something that he has to work through. You go back at the film. What did I do? What can I do better? How can I grow? He'll have 2 games coming up. He's going to play in the back-to-back games to me. He'll probably start one of them. So he'll get plenty of reps the next 2 games to continue to work through. He's playing Miami, which they're always an aggressive defense, so that'll be interesting to see how he responds against another aggressive defense in Oklahoma City. So I don't think we need to overreact to Kobe Buffkin's issues tonight. Like I said, you'd like to see a better performance, but Hawks are going to play this out, let him grow. Because people are like, well, if you're not tanking, you kind of can't. You know how many teams in this league are playoff teams but have young players getting playing time for the first time? What do you think they're doing with those players? Well, you just got to be really good immediately or else you're out of the rotation. No, you let them grow. You let them grow. And I think that's what they're gonna do. I think Kobe's still getting everything down. Remember, he didn't play summer league ball. So this is the first, these 2 games have been the first real taste of basketball he's had since last year. So again, guys, let's calm down. Let's see how things play out. All right. We know we want Kobe to have a better game. We want Kobe to be successful. Let him grow. Again, it's preseason. Let's get into the regular season. When they're running their stuff and see how he operates and how they do things, and we'll determine what happens, and we'll see how things go. All right. Dyson Daniels tonight, 3-9, 1 5 from 3. Didn't have the greatest offensive game, of course. Again, Dyson's value will be on his defense. The defense is where we are putting our value into a guy like Dyson Daniels. And even with what he had, I mean, he was very active defensively. He was a part of multiple turnovers that the Hawks caused tonight. Defensively, the Hawks were all over the place defensively. They caused issues for Philly's defense. Like we're looking at the offense after this game. Their defense actually played really good tonight. They created turnovers. They were active. They made this game ugly for the Sixers. They made it ugly for them. So, I mean, Sixers had 19 turnovers tonight. They only shot 43% from the field. So, as you can see, it's not like this game was lopsided offensively. I mean, the Hawks had 9 steals tonight, 5 blocks. They were active defensively in this game, and Dyson was a big part of that. I mean, he guarded Maxey tonight for a lot of the time he was on the floor. Now, overall, Tyrese Maxey was 5 of 18, 2 of 9 from 3. I mean, not 2 of 9 from 3. He was 2 of 9 from 3. But he was 5 of 18 from the floor. So, I mean, when Dyson was in there, he was giving the Sixers players hell defensively. Just active hands, just smart. I mean, listen. And this is the second game in a row you've seen him start with Trey. And I know some people don't like it for spacing, but here's the decision you have to make with the 2 spot. What do you value more? Defense or offense? Because that's what you're basically choosing between when you're talking about Bogey and Dyson Daniels. Which one do you value more? Because Dyson, if you start games, he can immediately guard the best defense. They play Brooklyn. Who's the best offensive player? Cam Thomas? You know who's going to be on him? Dyson Daniels. Because if you don't, who's going to guard Cam? Bogey? You know what I'm saying? You'd probably rather have Dyson in that situation guarding Cam Thomas, right? And there's nothing wrong with that. I think people will worry about the offense with Dyson on the floor. And I'm not too worried about it. Because the thing is, you've seen through these 2 games, Trey and Dyson play really well off of each other. So I think that's something that's underrated in this entire evaluation of that, is that they play really good off each other. Just because look at Dyson as what DeLon Wright was when he was here in Atlanta, and Nate would use that Trey Wright backcourt. That was actually a very effective pairing because of the defense that Delon created. And so, and obviously, Delon's not an elite offensive player, but he's a decent offensive player. And when he can make some shots, obviously that's a plus. It's the same thing with Dyson. Dyson makes some shots, that's a plus. But I think we'll have to see. But I have a feeling that Quinn may go with Dyson as the starter because he's just like that. Defensive versatility is so important. Trey Young said it after the game tonight. He was like, he will be amazing defensively. He is going to be elite defensively for us. Like, you could see it. If there's one thing you can see with Dyson Daniels, is that defense, right? And so I think that that's what the Hawks are valuing, is the defense. Because we tried to value offense and we saw where that got us. Let's see what happens if we value defense and see what that looks like, right? And so we'll go from there. Like I said, he didn't have the best game tonight, but we'll continue to grow and go from there. Let's talk about DeAndre Hunter. Big topic of discussion starting in tonight, right? Everybody complaining, why is Hunter starting? What are we doing? Why are we? The contract sucks, blah. Listen, let me tell you something about DeAndre Hunter. I've never been a DeAndre Hunter guy in terms of like, oh yeah, he's so great. Never been that guy. I understand what he is, but I also understand what he can do for the team. I think we are so focused on him being the fourth pick and the contract that we just think if he's not at that level, he's the worst player ever, right? Because every team has a player they hate. Every team does. And DeAndre Hunter's our guy. But the thing is, if you watch the first 8 minutes of that first quarter night, the Hawks, that starting lineup with DeAndre Hunter outplayed the Sixers. And defensively, especially. And Hunter was good defensively, too, in this game. That's why Hunter starts. If you think about it, we could start Risacher. That's fine. We can start him. Yeah, that's fine. But then it's like, do you want to ask your first pick to basically say, hey, we need you to guard the best swing every single night? Which, I mean, he will probably do just him playing, but, you would assume the minutes will, honestly, I'm curious to know if DeAndre's minutes might get cut into because of Risacher. It would be interesting to keep an eye on. But basically, Brad Roland was actually arguing, well, I won't say arguing. He was talking about it with people before the game about DeAndre Hunter and just saying, like, guys, like, we got to stop blaming him for being the fourth pick. We got to stop blaming him for that contract. Like, he did not choose to be the fourth pick. He was just the fourth pick, right? He said, listen, he may not even be a top 5 player on this team, maybe. But at the end of the day, he has value. He is a rotational player in this game. He is a guy who can defend. He mentioned a play that DeAndre Hunter had said, listen, that's why he's playing. You heard, like, and people don't understand, too, with Hunter, the shape this roster has been in the last few years, you needed Hunter. I don't think people realize, like, we literally had no wings last year. If you trade Hunter, what do we have? Nothing. And even with the additions that we have, when we have wings now, that doesn't mean now DeAndre Hunter is now obsolete. DeAndre Hunter is still someone I'd want to guard Luka, someone I'd want to guard Paul George, is someone I want for him to guard, the other big tough wings in the league. Because if you lose him, you're probably asking Jaylen to do it, and Jaylen's still growing defensively. If you think about it, if you think about that starting unit, you literally, Dyson can guard multiple positions. Hunter can guard multiple positions. Jaylen can guard multiple positions. You have 3+ defenders. And Clint, which I will get into about Clint, can guard or protect the rim. So you only have Trey Young, who isn't a defensive plus. But even that, I've seen effort from Trey Young in these games, which is really all you want from Trey Young, realistically. Put an effort. Try to defend. We can talk about the offense all we want and why we want Risacher. And I understand why we want Risacher. I'm not mad at you for wanting Risacher. That's not my point. But we got to stop acting like DeAndre Hunter is just like the worstest player ever. He's not. He's not. Like, he can help this team with what he does. Like, he can. And we just have to understand what he is and let him be what he is. We're going to have nights where we're going to be frustrated with DeAndre Hunter, and we're going to be pissed about how he played. It's just part of the DeAndre Hunter experience, guys. You've understood that. When the Hawks feel like they're at a place they can move on from Hunter, they will make that decision accordingly. Right now, they want to keep him in the fold. Right? And if he's a starter, he's a starter. Like, I promise you, DeAndre Hunter will not be the reason why this team is either a lottery team or if they happen to be like a top team in the Eastern Conference. He could be a contributing factor, but he's not going to be the main reason. So let's calm down with that. All right. So again, we'll see how things go. I want to talk quickly about Clint because Glenn Willis made a good point on Twitter during the game. If you go back to last year, the Hawks had to blitz a lot. And so centers had to, like Clint and them, had to blitz. They really couldn't play a lot of drop coverage. They played a lot more drop coverage tonight in regards to the first game when they mixed up their coverages. And I think Glenn mentioned something that's true. For the entire year last year, you had to play a certain way of this. You had to get away from the rim because you felt like, I have to help Trey. I have to help DJ. I have to help Bogey. I have to help them because we can't defend and stay in front of guys, right? This year, because you have defenders, you don't have to do that. You don't have to play that way if you're Clint or Larry Nance or Okongwu. You can focus more on rim protection. And I think there are still times where the team had to overhelp last year because of the way the defense was. And I think some of the guys have to get off of that habit of overhelping, and especially the bigs, the centers, because they had to last year. But with the new defensive prowess that they have, they don't have to as much this year. And so I think there is sometimes that muscle memory of, I got to, jump something. And it's like, you don't have to, like, stay back at the rim. You don't have to come out. Like just stay at the rim and protect it. And so I think that's something that obviously for Clint, we'll see how that continues to go for him. And like I said, when Okongwu comes back, which Quinn Snyder mentioned, he should be back at some point in the preseason. They hope that he'll be getting back in the next 2 games. So that'll be a plus if we can. And then we'll see how many minutes he plays. Because I can see them easily working him back in, right? Which would be why I would definitely think, if that's the case, they maybe do a 10-man rotation. But just something that's a nice thing to point out there. And then let's talk about Jaylen Johnson, all right? Jaylen didn't have the best game tonight. 10.7 rebounds, 4-8 shooting, 2 or 3 from 3. Had 4 turnovers tonight. Like he didn't play terrible, but he wasn't like what he was in the first game. Obviously, this matchup was a little bit different. You went from getting guarded by Obi Toppin, Pascal Siakam, different guys, to Paul George, which I think Indiana, he just attacked his matchups when he had mismatches. This game, I think, obviously Paul George is a really good defender for a reason. And I think there were times tonight as you watched the game, he got stripped a couple of times. He got his pocket picked. Well, a little bit of a loose dribble. Something that obviously, I think, again, he's still growing as a player. Like, this man is not a completed product. And that's the one thing we have to keep in mind here when we talk about Jaylen Johnson. Jaylen Johnson is not a completed player. He is not a polished player yet. He is still growing. Again, that's a big part of the season, growth. And so he's still, working through some stuff. This was a tougher defensive matchup for the Hawks offensively tonight, just because of who they have. Paul George, really good defender. Forgot who all they had in the lineup, honestly, which I shouldn't have, but I was just watching them the whole time. Kelly Oubre, guy who can defend the ball. They have some guys they can kind of throw at Jaylen, and he struggled a little bit tonight with it. And And I think, like I said, something, watch film, you improve on, you work through, and you just continue to get better. That's really all you do in Jaylen Johnson's case. Like I said, he wasn't terrible. It's just, I know he wasn't the most fantastic, and I know people are gonna be like, "Oh, are we sure he's the number 2 option? Are we sure he's ready?" Guys, again, it's preseason. Again, they're not doing all their stuff. Let's wait till the regular season before we start going crazy. Again, we played 2 games. He was really good in game 1, was okay in game 2. Why are we making judgments? Like, it's not like you have a higher sample size of negative play or positive play to make a judgment on these guys. Let's just watch basketball and see how things go. Right. So, I think overall tonight, it wasn't, like I said, the best performance, especially offensively for this team. Wasn't the best. You obviously want to see better play. You obviously want to see not as sloppy of basketball as you saw tonight from this team. But it's a process. And they're just trying to get guys comfortable with roles, comfortable shooting, comfortable getting playing time, and comfortable with what they're trying to do. So we're going to continue to see how it goes. My plan for the week when it comes to podcasting, I'll probably do a pod Wednesday after that game against the Heat, depending on what happens Thursday. If they do, because that's the game I think they're going to not play starters, I will probably not do a pod after that game. I will probably not do one after that game. But I will have a pod up next week before the regular season opener against Brooklyn. Hoping to try to get maybe somebody from the Brooklyn Nets on here to kind of preview the game with me. But we'll see how it goes, how next week goes. We may have someone who's also someone who covers the Hawks. So we got a couple of options on the table. But we're reviewing all of them. So, I mean, like I said, overall tonight, I mean, the Hawks, like I said, sloppy game, lose to the Sixers. Some good things, some bad things you work on, growth, not running your stuff. It's preseason. No reason to overreact. We'll continue to go through, and we'll see how things continue to progress as the season draws near. We are almost at opening night. And I think then we'll be able to really have real conversations about this team as the season goes on. But before I let you get out of here, guys, just a reminder again, if you're watching this on YouTube, go ahead, subscribe if you enjoyed this Believe in Hawks episode. Like the video, leave comments down below on anything you want to make mention of, maybe something I forgot, something you want to maybe bring up that I maybe never saw about the game or about the team in general. Audio, leave a rating and review. Go ahead, hit 5 stars on the pod so more Hawks fans can see this as it moves up Hawks podcast. And yeah, man. Just let's see how this preseason ends out, guys. Like I said, we play again Wednesday, and so I will be back with that, and we'll continue to go from there. But that's all I got, guys. This was a We Believe in Hawks episode. It's your boy Bryce Lewis. See you next time.